The British sniper noticed her because she wasn't looking at the targets. Everyone else on the firing range stood focused behind scopes and rifles, calculating wind and distance like surgeons preparing for delicate work, but the young woman moved quietly along the edge of the field, bending occasionally to pick up spent brass shells. Scattered in the dust, to the sniper, it looked almost amusing. An international joint training exercise had brought together some of the best marksmen from Allied forces. Pride hung thick in the dry desert air. Every shooter wanted to prove something, so when he saw her crouched in the dirt with a small bag of empty casings, he couldn't help himself. He smirked and called out, loud enough for the nearby group to hear, "Wanna try?" A few soldiers chuckled softly. The woman looked up slowly. Her expression wasn't angry. If anything, it was calm. Almost curious, she stood and brushed the dust from her hands, the small bag of brass shells hanging loosely at her side. Around them, the range stretched far into the pale horizon. Heat shimmered above the sand, distorting the distant steel targets. The British sniper rested his hand casually on the rifle beside him. "Go on," he added with a playful grin. "Show us what you've got." To him, it was harmless teasing, the kind that happened often in competitive environments. But something about the woman's quiet eyes made a few of the nearby operators pause. She walked closer, her boots crunched softly against gravel as she approached the firing line. The breeze carried the faint scent of gunpowder and sun-heated metal. "You're sure?" she asked. The sniper shrugged. "Why not?" Several observers leaned forward now, curiosity replacing amusement. Visitors sometimes tried a shot for fun during demonstrations. It rarely ended well. The woman set the small bag of shells on the table. For a moment she simply looked down at the rifle, not examining it, remembering it. Inside her mind, distant memories stirred long nights lying still beneath cold stars, waiting for the world to grow quiet enough. Her instructors had taught her patience long before they taught her precision. Patience was the real weapon. She knelt. Behind the rifle, the laughter faded almost immediately. Her movements were different, slow, exact, familiar. The British sniper noticed it first, the way she adjusted the bipod by millimeters, the way her breathing settled into a rhythm. That wasn't how beginners handled rifles. The range fell strangely quiet, far down range. A steel plate waited nearly a mile away. Even experienced snipers struggled at that distance. The woman closed one eye and looked through the scope. Wind from the west, 3 miles per hour, slight thermal lift from the rising heat. Her finger rested gently against the trigger. For a moment she didn't fire. Instead she listened to the wind, to her heartbeat, to the silence that experienced shooters learn to read like a language. Then the rifle cracked. The shot echoed across the valley. Everyone instinctively turned toward the distant horizon. For a second, nothing, then a faint metallic ring drifted back through the hot air. The steel target had been hit. Several soldiers blinked in disbelief. The British sniper straightened slightly, adjusting his stance. "Lucky shot," he murmured quietly. The woman didn't respond. She simply chambered another round. Her breathing remained calm. Another shot, another long pause, another distant metallic ping. This time no one laughed. A few operators quickly raised spotting scopes, confirming what their ears had already told them. Two perfect hits. At that distance, the British sniper felt the first hint of something unfamiliar, uncertainty. The woman fired again. The third shot rang true. By now the entire range had fallen silent. She slowly stood, brushing the dust from her knees. The bag of empty shells still rested on the table beside her. The British sniper stared at her, studying her face more carefully now. "Who are you?" he asked quietly. The woman picked up the small bag again. "Just cleaning up," she said gently. One of the American instructors nearby chuckled softly and stepped forward. "Actually," he said, folding his arms, "she's the reason half our teams make it home." The sniper frowned. The instructor continued, "Meet Commander Riley Ward." A few soldiers exchanged surprised looks. The instructor nodded toward the distant target. "Deadliest shot in our SEAL program." The words settled over the range like a sudden storm cloud. The British sniper felt heat rise to his face. He wasn't embarrassed because he had been wrong. He was embarrassed because he had assumed. Riley lifted the bag of brass shells and smiled faintly. "Good shooters clean up after themselves," she said. No one laughed this time, because respect had quietly replaced pride, and sometimes the most dangerous skill in the world hides behind the simplest actions. True mastery rarely announces itself. It waits patiently until doubt invites it forward. The loudest confidence often fades the fastest, but quiet excellence echoes for miles.